What's going on, guys? Kain541204 here, or as I like to be known as, Harley D. Stacy. This is actually going to be a new intro for a video series that I am going to be working on here pretty soon. I'm going to start doing fanfiction readings, so if you guys want to leave any kind of comments or any kind of ideas, go ahead and leave them in the comments, give me an idea here and there. And with that, I'm going to get started on the first fanfiction of the series, Apotheosis. The following is a reading of My Hero Academia fanfiction. Story title, Apotheosis, by Lord Wolfie. Read for you by Kain. Chapter 1. The Spark of Genius. People aren't born equal, even though they should be. We're all living, breathing beings born of the same species on the same planet, in the same universe. So what made some people better than others? Quirks, superpowers that over 80% of the population were born with. It used to be money or ethnicity, but that was human nature. People will always find some way to be better than others, just so they could look down on the others. Unfortunately for Izuku Midoriya, he was one of the others of society. A quirkless boy that everyone looked down on, like he had some sort of disability just by being a normal human. But even still, he wanted nothing more than to be a hero. Maybe not the greatest hero, but a hero nonetheless. All Might was always his idol. That man's smile and attitude was always a light in his otherwise bleak world. That's what he wanted to be, that light in someone else's world. Izuku felt like he owed it to someone out there to be their light, just like All Might was his. Until he was told by said hero to give up on his dreams. Until he saw All Might for what he really was. It was one thing to be picked on by Kacchan and told every day that he was a quirkless nobody that could never be a hero. As much as that chipped away at his self-esteem and confidence, he could still carry on with that. But to hear the same thing from the number one hero, that was soul-crushing. I can't be a hero, huh? Fine. You win, world. Izuku sighed, finally giving up. He didn't bother stopping to take notes on whatever commotion was going on in the streets. All of his notes, scientific formulas, diagrams, and sketches for devices and gadgets were meaningless to him now. He didn't care anymore. Later that day, Izuku stared at his wall of hero posters and magazine cutouts with a somber look on his freckled face. Slowly, he reached up and started taking them down, opened up one of the garbage sacks he had gotten from the kitchen, and stuffed it into the bag. It appears your son is quirkless. I'm sorry, but he won't be able to develop. He won't be a hero. He took all of his notebooks and tossed them in the bag. Next was all of his theories, sketches, and diagrams for devices and gadgets that would simulate a quirk. He even threw out all of his mathematical equations for those theories and hypothetical projects. I'm sorry, Izuku. Izuku went into his closet and grabbed all the comic books, manga, and graphic novels that he had collected over the years. It wasn't just Japanese comics, but American ones too. He used to like the intricate and elaborate universes that Marvel and DC created with their comics. Now, though, they lost all meaning to him as into the trash they go. I'm sorry, kid, but without a quirk, you can't be a hero. We risk our lives every day. It's not something a quirkless person can do. Try being an officer. Sure, it's not the most glamorous job, but it's still a noble profession. Lastly, the All Might merchandise that he kept had to go. That man used to be his favorite hero, a hero that saved people with a smile and always preached about never giving up, until Izuku got to meet him face to face and was told by the number one hero to give up. He even got to see the hero's true form, a skinny, emaciated man that wore his muscles like a mask, hiding the weak body beneath. It was all so eye-opening. Not only was his dream to be a hero crushed, but it turned out his role model, All Might, was nothing more than a pretender. 3 hours a day, huh? He might as well be one of the made-up heroes in these comic books stuffed in the trash, clinging to his title and fame like a leech, even if it costs him his health. Just like all those fake heroes in today's quirk-obsessed society. All they cared about is fame and money. No one wanted to be a real hero. That just wanted to save people. Kain was the perfect example, always boasting about being the greatest and richest hero ever, but the way he bullied Izuku, you would think he'd be more suited for a life of villainy. Though that was human nature, wasn't it? Nobody did anything for free. Everyone wanted something, and those frauds dressed in colored costumes were no different. Where were the real heroes? The ones like in his comics. The ones that these moronic fakers pretended to be. Irritation and disgust began to fill Izuku's thoughts as he glared at his own barren room. If I had a quirk, I wouldn't be like them. That thought caused the green-haired boy to deflate when he realized there really was nothing he could do about it. What could a weak, quirkless boy like him do to change society? To change the world? According to the doctor, Kain and All Might, nothing. People really aren't born equal. He sighed again, sadly, with tears building up. He always knew that he could never be a hero, but he just wanted to hear one person say he could do it. That's all. Just one voice in the cacophony of screams that said he couldn't do anything. To say that they believed that a quirkless boy could do something great. That alone would have been enough to ease all the pain and heartache. Walking back to the closet, he checked to make sure everything got thrown away. There, his eyes spotted one lone comic book sitting on the top shelf. Reaching up, he grabbed it and brought it to his face and looked at the cover. He smiled lightly to himself as he remembered this one fondly. A story where the villain technically wins. But the bad guy's motives, while horrific, were done for what he believed to be a noble cause. Balancing the universe, making everything as it should be. Flipping through it, he paused on a very epic drawing of the purple-skinned villain holding up his gauntlet-covered hand, about to snap his fingers with it. His green eyes lingered on the stone-covered gauntlet while his mind ran a mile a minute. Izuku suddenly felt an idea pop into his head. For some reason, this particular comic reminded him of an interesting article he read a while back. Placing the novel on his desk, he went over to the trash bag and dug through some of his notebooks. Finding the correct one, the freckled boy flipped it open to his notes along with the print of the scientific discussion. Apparently, a scientist in Germany figured out a liquid serum that, once ingested or injected directly into the bloodstream, could give that person a quirk for a limited time. Just a few seconds, according to a highlighted sentence. The serum was based from the concentrated DNA of a quirked individual and was unfortunately abandoned due to the dead end the research team ran into. This led Izuku to wonder. The serum, called Project Prometheus, was considered a failure due to the fact that the time limitations could never be expanded upon. Looking at the notes and the formulas that were published in the article, he had to wonder if they were looking in the wrong direction. If a quirk could be concentrated into liquid form, could it be concentrated into a solid form? For example, a stone? A small stone that could be fitted into a device that would allow the user to use a quirk that the stone was derived from. Izuku pulled out some blank papers and started drawing up some equations. He may not have had a quirk, but he was still excelled in math and science. In fact, if it wasn't for his foolish dreams to go to UA, he would have graduated middle school a year ago. Having a genius-level intelligence was the only solace the universe gave him, after robbing him of the gift of having a quirk. Too bad such a powerful mind wasn't even considered as remarkable in a world where quirks outshined everything. The next morning. Yes, this is it. Izuku started to laugh in triumph. This is it! He spent all night working on this equation, and he finally cracked it. A way to extract the essence of a quirk from someone's DNA and concentrate it into a crystallized stone form. His formula was based off of Project Prometheus, except his would work, in theory at least. He was so close, though. Just a few lines of math could turn a quirkless person into the most powerful being in the planet. All he needed was some sort of object to attach the stones to once they were made. But what kind of device would he make? Looking at the comic that inspired him, he decided that he might as well go with that. The Infinity Gauntlet. Izuku smiled, thinking about the future hero society he will make with this device. No more frauds and pretend heroes like All Might. Everything will be as it should be. Perfectly balanced. With only those he deemed real heroes allowed. His dream to be a hero was dead. But his new dream, he vowed would come to fruition. However, there was just one problem. Where am I going to get the money to make it?